Hey-ho, neighborinos. Once again, your cybersecurity pal is here to rip off the mask of bad guys everywhere. And friends, this is not just a cute prop to introduce myself with. This is something that really ties into the topic for today, which is social engineering. Now, I know what you're thinking. Keith, you ruggedly handsome guy, you! What the heck is social engineering? I was promised that there'd be no techies on these videos! Don't worry. Just like in most of my videos, there's little to no techies here, I promise. And even if you're not familiar with the term social engineering, you're probably already familiar with the concept. But before we begin, let me give you a heads up that some of this stuff is material I previously covered. But what I've done is collect some stuff from here and a little bit from there and added some brand new stuff to tie it all together in a nice, neat little package for you. You're welcome. So what is social engineering? It is the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. You see it all the time in movies and TV shows. A charismatic good guy or bad guy walks right up to someone like a security guard or receptionist and shoots them a line of malarkey to get something out of them. Often, they're pretending to be someone they're not. Maybe they need access to a confidential file, or maybe they just need to escape out of the building. But if the security guard or receptionist is fooled by the bogus stuff, then the charismatic person gets away with what they wanted. But in the real world, pretty much the biggest example of social engineering is what we call phishing with a PH, which is the use of a deceptive email to do bad things. It might be to get you to divulge stuff like your login credentials to your bank website, or it might be to get you to click that link to download some malware onto your computer. Now, just as a refresher, I need to make a sharp distinction. Phishing is different from spam, which is unsolicited advertisements sent to your email box. If someone sends you an email out of the blue trying to sell you diet pills, and they're really a diet pill company, and they're just trying to sell you diet pills, that's not phishing. And the email itself really isn't malicious. On a side note, however, even if it's not malicious, don't click on the link. Even if it doesn't download malware or something like that, the dead last thing you want is to broadcast to them and all the other spammers out there that there's a real live person on the other end of the email address they sent that ad to. You are painting a target on yourself by doing that. Oh, and by the way, you want to know another way that you paint a please send me spam on yourself? By clicking any unsubscribe me link or button. By doing that, once again, you are sending a signal back to those guys that there's a live person on the other end of that email address that they sent that to. I strongly recommend you don't do that. So my point, and I do have one, is that the difference between phishing and spam is that by definition, phishing is deceptive. They are pretending to be someone they are not. And I've already submitted some videos a while back on how to tell a non-malicious email from a bad one. Links below. But phishing is not the only way to perform social engineering. I mentioned this a long time ago, but there's also vishing with a V as in Victor. This is a phone call you get from someone telling you that they're with the IRS and there's a warrant out for your arrest. I've had people call and tell me that I owe money on a payday loan. Although I've been through some bad times financially, I've never taken out a payday loan in my life. So how do you deal with those? Well, I mentioned some of this in a prior video, but let me go into some more depth here. First and foremost, you can know that the IRS will never call you unless they've already made contact via snail mail. If someone calls you and claims that you owe them money and you have no idea what they're talking about, do what I did and tell them to send you something through snail mail and you'll get back to them. Unless you've already been in contact with these people before on a legitimate debt, then do not give them your debit card or banking info over the phone. Keep this in mind when someone calls you and you don't immediately recognize them. Anybody can call you up and claim to be anybody they want. On a side note, again, as I mentioned before, out of the blue, your bank will never call you. Microsoft will never call you. The Social Security office will never call you. A legitimate IT technician will never call you to work on your computer out of the blue. There's also such a thing as smishing, which is phishing with texting. Again, anybody can pretend to be anybody on the phone, including with texting. And it's really not that difficult to take over your friend's phone number and text you. Also, keep in mind that if a bad guy takes over your friend's Facebook account, they can send you direct messages with a link that says, "Hey, look at this, click here." Let me try to help you with a rule that will knock out about 98% of this mess. Unless you're expecting that particular link from someone, do not click on it, even if you know that person. If you aren't expecting that link or that attachment in that email or text or direct message, then contact that person through another means and confirm with them that they sent it. And on top of that, it pays to understand the mind of someone trying to get into your head. In the past few months, I've been studying to become an ethical hacker. That is someone who is hired by a certain company or organization to try to break into that company or organization's network, and afterwards to provide a detailed report to that company outlining what they need to do to protect themselves better from real bad guys. In my studies, I learned that there are 6 main avenues of approach bad guys, or people who are pretending to be bad guys, can use to try to pull off a successful social engineering attack. I'm going to briefly go over them in order to protect you even better. Avenue number 1 is fear. Hey, there's a warrant out for your arrest, and the only way the Popo aren't coming to your door tonight is if you pay us the money you owe us. Avenue number 2, likeness or rapport. Hey, I hear you're a big fan of the Dallas Stars. So what do you think about their chances next season? Avenue number 3, urgency. Better hurry. This sale of iPhones for only $50 each is only going to last for one more day. Avenue number 4, scarcity. We only have 2 iPhones left at this low price of $50 each. Better hurry before they're all sold out. Avenue number 5, social proof. Hey, if you don't trust me, you can just look us up on Facebook. We have 10,000 people liking us there. No. There are actually bad guys out there who purchase friends and followers. Yeah, that's the thing. So just because someone has 10,000 followers on Facebook doesn't necessarily mean that they're legit. So on to number 6, authority, which you actually will see more often in a business setting. This is your boss's assistant, and I'm telling you he needs that money transferred over to this new account right away. So keep an eye out for avenues of approach like this. Now let me close by giving you one more warning which might help protect you. Do you remember avenue number 2 a minute ago? Likeness or rapport. Here's what you have to keep in mind. Everything that you reveal about yourself online, the city you were born in, your profession in life, your wife's name, your kids' names, your favorite sports team, your high school or college. If a bad guy puts in just a little bit of time and effort, they can probably find out stuff like this about you, right? Think about what anybody could find out about you from your Twitter account, or Facebook account, or LinkedIn, or Instagram, or whatever. If someone called you up out of the blue and claimed to know you from college, how would you know they're not just scamming you? Now, I'm not saying go Amish and completely shut yourself off from social media, although that might be better for your mental health. But keep in mind that if someone reaches out to you and they use stuff about your personal life in order to build that rapport, they might just be trying to sell you a legitimate product or service, or they might be trying to get something more. Just please keep that in mind. Okay, that's it for now. If you want to be notified when I posted a new piece of cybersecurity goodness, then be sure to click the subscribe and bell buttons below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and God bless.